I'm not going to say that the pictures from him at the beach with Livy show that he doesn't care about baseball. Maybe somebody wants to call in and say that his focus is not there and that it doesn't mean as much to him. And if you want to be the person who says that, 412-928-9370, that is not going to be me. I also partly understand he's in a huge rut right now. His girlfriend is down in Miami. You're a pitcher. You have time on your hands. You go and do something to get your mind off of things with her. That also makes sense to me. However, let's be brutally honest with each other. The optics of that when he's going like he's going are not good.
No. They are very bad.
I am still lizard-brained as a fan where when the guys that I am rooting for who are underachieving and are struggling, I don't want to see them having a good time. I want to see them miserable like me.
You want them to be wearing it the way you are emotionally. And he was just traipsing around on the beach. He looked kind of like a dad. He had the big water bottle in the back of his trunks.
He looked like he could use a tan.
Maybe give an ass transplant to Chris Berman.
I mean, he didn't really dispel the notion that he's in great shape.
Little bit of dad bod there.
I mean, there have been plenty of guys like David Wells and CC Sabathia. We're not asking pitchers. They never really have all been built out of granite or stone. But, I mean, there's conjecture earlier in the week that he's not in the best of shape or his weight is up. None of it really sits well with me. And I can't even really enjoy Ashcraft's dominance to the degree to which I want to because the team has fallen on such hard times. And the guy that is supposed to be having games like this can't even get me 6 innings.
His coach made hold on. I think you got to say it in this sentence to drive it home. His coach made an accurate and justifiable decision to pull him from the game in favor of the more effective Yohan Ramirez. Recall that in that game, yes, they lose it 2-0. He only gives up those 2. Brian Reynolds goes over the wall to keep it from being 4 in 5 innings and a much worse looking start.
Yeah.
By the way, is this going to be the only time ever he is photographed on a beach in bathing suits with Livy Dunn and people are paying more attention to what he looks like in his physique? Because it felt like people are just like, oh yeah, there's Livy.
Yeah,
she looks like she always does.
That's actually a good point.
Hey, check out the love handles on Skenes. Holy crap.
As a guy that has love handles, so I feel comfortable saying this, there were a couple of love handles there.
He does not. Right? He does not. Not that pitchers have to. You're right to cite Wells and guys like that. And I remember when I was covering a team in a locker room, Zach Duke looked like the epitome of dad bod while he was.
Was that during his dominant run?
He was pretty good still at that point. It was early in his career. They don't have to look like they're all Jake Arrieta circa 2015.
Right.
But if one of the narratives out there is that you're tiring too easily, you're just not in peak physical condition, and the narratives for the first 2 years of your career were you take care of your body so well, you're such a cerebral athlete about all parts of the game, right?
Yeah.
You are not doing yourself any favors when you look like just a much taller than usual random guy at the beach. You know what I mean?
Yep.
He didn't, other than being 6'6", what about him looked like ultimate pro athlete?
Series against the Marlins starts with Paul Skenes looking his worst and Braxton Ashcraft looking his best, as he has one of the best starts we've seen by a Pirate pitcher in years. Complete game. Those rarely happen in baseball now. It's the first one since 2024. 10 strikeouts, only gives up a run. It's a meaningless home run in the 9th inning with the Pirates up 13. 412-928-9370 if you want to join us on Bucko Postgame. If you want to wax poetic about Ashcraft, go right ahead. But to me, I'm trying to get to the bottom of whether or not Pirates fans are fed up with Paul Skenes. Because Dom said something, because Callis was in here forever today, because we had a meeting after the meeting. There was a meeting after the morning show, and then Callis hung around because I'm now discovering that even though it's really a little bit of an odd couple situation, that Dom and Callis are actually really good friends and enjoy each other's company, even though Twitter or social media might say something entirely differently. But these two are back there having a Skenes conversation, and Dom's, I think, spot on. He's like, people have turned on Skenes. Skenes has lost a lot of fans this year. He has gone from being untouchable, put on a pedestal. Every Pirate fan felt sorry for him, felt bad for him, rooted for him, but thought that the organization was doing him dirty. And honestly, I won't say it happened at the exact same time. And I do think it's a coincidence. I don't think these two things are related at all. But really, ever since he made the comment about, I'd rather retire than pitch in a league where there's a salary cap. Ever since he said that, it's been, as Crowley said to Kennedy once, all downhill. It's been awful. There's been 2 or maybe 3 good starts in there out of 20. And that's it. And so I just don't think I thought you probably could have made an argument before the season started that after Sidney Crosby, at the start of the season, he was the second most popular athlete in Pittsburgh.
I think that was an easy argument to make. And I would say he's slid precipitously. For me, it's your performance is definitely the main thing that I care about as a fan and as just somebody that does what we do. If you're playing really well, I'm going to forgive a lot. If Jake Mangum, for example, was hitting .360 in place of O'Neal Cruz with 10 home runs, I'm going to give Jake Mangum a break on certain things or whatever. If Nick Gonzalez looked like Michael Jack Schmidt out there and I'm not going to say a word that would get me in trouble, but you know what I mean. I wouldn't care. If Jared Triolo was a lot better than he was, etc. Your performance is ballooning up to twice what it usually is in terms of how good you are. You're twice as bad as you normally are. And then this is the thing that gets me. And you're telling everybody in these post-game scrums, instead of being Mr. Stoic when things are good and people are lauding you for that, you keep insisting nothing's really wrong when everyone's eyes are telling them that something is definitely not the same with you. That bugs me. I just had a bad inning here, a bad inning there. No, man, you're throwing 95. You're not throwing 101. You're not putting the ball on the black. You're throwing a very high number of uncompetitive pitches, waste pitches. You're not the same guy, and you keep insisting that you are. And definitely it felt like talking down to fans who would intimate that you're different and for the worse. That bothered me. Still does.
412-928-9370 here on Bucko Postgame. Let's start with PM Team Bucko Postgame. Let's start with Craig after this 13-1 Pirates win. Hello, Craig.
Hey, guys. You know what I think it started with Skenes is, remember when Griffin got that contract and Skenes was like, he's going to be the face of the Pirates moving forward or whatever.
He did say that. And everyone said that there might not have been any secret intent there, but man, it was easy to connect the dots that was his way of saying, I'm not going to be here that long.
That was him saying, I'm out in the future. Good luck, Pittsburgh. And I think it's the result. This is what we're getting, man. He's not in it. He doesn't care.
So that's how you take the beach pick. He's not, his head's not in it. His heart's not in it. That's how I get his non-urgency over being probably the worst pitcher on the team. Well, I don't know if that's hold on though. How many starting pitchers in the rotation are worse than him right now? Majinski, because he can't go deep into games and he's not very good currently.
Sounds like Skenes right now.
It kind of does.
Bubba?
Better. Jones, I think, hard to say that after the Mets game on Sunday, but still
had stacked more good starts in that short span.
Yeah.
He's their second worst starter right now.
Yeah, I would say that. Just mind-boggling.
Jones's numbers are worse, but that last start ballooned everything.
Well, yeah, for the season, Skenes is, you could maybe even fashion an argument that Skenes has still been their best pitcher this year because so many guys have underachieved. But over the last month or two,
Ashcraft's
he's a back of the rotation starter.
Ashcraft's going to jump ahead of them as their best pitcher. Ashcraft now in one less start is going to have a better same ERA, 3.88. That's ironic. They're at the same level. He's going to have thrown more innings. Not that wins matter, but he's going to be 12-5 now after this game. Ashcraft is, and he's going to have a higher WAR. So,
well, here's one area for me where wins matter, and I'm not trying to be guy that still, drinks Folgers in the morning and reads the
Hawk Harrelson, let it out.
Stuff,
let it out.
But the reason why wins, I think, are a little bit underrated is because to me that's a sign that a guy is going deep enough in a game to get a win. You know what I mean? Now so many wins go to relievers. The Brewers might have a relief pitcher who wins 20 games this year, Ashby. And so that's a sign to me that you're pitching well enough and you're pitching long enough wins. Mm-hmm. Before, when people started to say, well, wins are meaningless a good number of years ago, a lot of starting pitchers were still, for the most part, going 7, sometimes 8 innings in games. So they might get great run support, pitch a lot, and get a win, and they didn't really pitch great. They just had 7 or 8 runs scored for them. Now these guys are usually out after the 5th or 6th inning. So I just take it as a sign that Ashcraft, and look at his game logs this year. He actually has a bunch of starts where he's gone 7, 8, and today 9 innings. And not just because he was pitching great in those games. He's had I don't know,
more dominant, efficient starts, in my opinion.
Skenes had those 2 back-to-back great games where he pitched 8 innings against the Rockies and Diamondbacks.
And the Diamondbacks game, they desperately needed it because it was a 1-0 game.
And there's maybe been 2 good starts since, really good starts.
What would you qualify as really good? 7 at least, and 2 or fewer?
Even the one that box score-wise looked the best, and that's the start in Cleveland after the All-Star break. The Guardians had a ton of base runners and hits in that game. They just did dumb things. And the Pirates also made great defensive plays.
What would you define as a good start?
It wasn't a vintage Skenes start.
What would you define as a really good start? At least 7 innings and 2 or fewer earned runs?
Let's say he goes 6 and he gives up 1 or fewer, or he goes 7 and he gives up 2 or fewer.
By that standard, he has, since that game, that back-to-back 8-inning thing, he has 1 what you would call really good start, and it's the Cleveland one. He does not have a single start where he went 6 and
I
gave
watched
up 1.
that game, and it didn't knock my socks off. It didn't blow me away.
Baseball Reference does the game score thing, which is that little formula that basically is if you're striking out a ton of people and they're not even putting the ball in play. Kerry Wood's 20 strikeout game is better than some perfect games because he's taking luck out of the equation on batted balls. Skenes has 3 games at 80 or above this year. Then he only has 1 in the 70s, a bunch in the 60s. I'm willing to bet, Pony, that if I quickly pulled up his game logs from last year and looked at that very same metric, right, which I think is a good basic blunt instrument, he had a ton of games in the 70s. It wasn't as many spectacular ones as he's had this year, but he had 15 where he was just a really good
starts.
Yeah, exactly. 15 of them.